Chapter 9. Where did you go? I was looking around. Looking around? Eunam eyed Chung Myeong suspiciously. However, Chung Myeong crossed his legs and turned to gaze at the sky as if he didn't mind at all. Was this child always like this? The first time he saw the kid, he'd seemed extremely polite. Now, it seemed like his behavior had changed. How should he put it? He was full of bad energy. Well, he must be. Judging from his behavior, the kid must have been a beggar for quite some time. Expecting innocence from a beggar in this world would be naive. Have you eaten? I'm not hungry. Chung Myeong was being sincere, ironically. The condition of Mount Hua stole away his appetite. How could he overcome the emptiness he felt from looking at this place? Then follow me. Huh? The sect leader wants to see you. Ah, yes. Chung Myeong nodded. He had to do this eventually. Better sooner than later. The door opened to reveal an old man sitting quietly. Chung Myeong was shaken. He certainly deserves to be called sect leader. The feeling of chi was enough to convince him that this man had devoted his entire life to this place. But he doesn't seem to have dominance. As a sect leader, he didn't lack for anything, but he was lacking as a warrior of Mount Hua. Give your greetings. Is there anywhere as unhappy as this? Chung Myeong sighed. After all he'd been through, this sect leader seemed like a toddler compared to the sect leader of his time. Here was the Plum Blossom Sword Saint offering his greetings to a toddler. I shouldn't have been reborn. What was he supposed to do? Get sick and die? Chung Myeong didn't voice any of his thoughts and just bowed. I am Chung Myeong. I am Hyunjong. The sect leader smiled and returned the simple greeting. A guest has arrived, but we have nothing to treat you with. I hope you can understand our current situation. Ah, yes. Hyunjong's eyebrows twitched. Usually you would reply, don't worry, or something like, how could an uninvited guest expect much? But the look in his eyes and his gestures indicated this child didn't seem to expect much from them in the first place. I heard you said something interesting in Okchon Temple. Sold it. What are you talking about? Chung Myeong tilted his head. Hyunjong narrowed his eyes, but it really seemed like he didn't understand what was being asked. He really doesn't know. A child couldn't lie so well. No use trying to read me, you jerk. Chung Myeong smiled to himself. He was Chung Myeong, one of the best liars in the world. Even his Sahyong couldn't see through his eyes or find his alcohol. Hyunjong simply couldn't find any evidence that the child was lying. Did you not say such words? I don't remember well. The only thing I remember was being so tired I fainted. Made sense. He'd climbed Mount Hua with his young body. The kid must have reached his limits. However, if you were that tired, why didn't you say anything? It is said that when entering the gate, it is necessary to pay tribute to the ancestors. Hyunjong raised his eyebrow at Eunam. The child came here all alone, and you dragged him off to make him pray? Huh? Eunam blinked. No, he was perfectly fine. The kid was perfectly fine until he entered the gate, and then he passed out from exhaustion? What kind of crazy story is that? Eunam shot Chung Myeong an accusatory look, but Chung Myeong's eyes were wide and innocent. Hyunjong nodded. That sounds reasonable. Apologies for our inattention. It's fine. Right. Another question. Yes? Why did you climb all the way up this steep mountain? Don't say you came here on a whim. Mount Hua isn't something people climb for novelty, much less a child. A sharp question, but Chung Myeong had his answer prepared in advance. Sect leader. I'm listening. I want to enter the Mount Hua Sect. You want to enter? Hyunjong's eyes narrowed. Yes. Hyunjong stared at Chung Myeong. He couldn't see anything from his innocent eyes. Does that mean you climbed up here with a purpose? Yes. Hyunjong nodded. Mount Hua wasn't a place for tourists. You want to enter Mount Hua. This means you know of Mount Hua. Yes. Enter. Hyunjong's eyes narrowed. Chung Myeong licked his lips. It's perfectly logical. I'll just use Chongjin. Chung Myeong's Saje, his junior, Chongjin, was chased by the demonic sect as he was preparing for the final battle. Though it's said that he disappeared, a person who disappeared during battle wasn't missing, but dead. Chongjin fell off a cliff. A woodcutter found him and helped him heal. However, the injury was too severe for him to ever fully recover. As gratitude, he took the man as his disciple and taught him the martial arts of Mount Hua, And I, Chung Myeong, is the descendant of that woodcutter. Superb. A flawless script. The best thing was that Chung Myeong had control of everything he said. This story had no loopholes, and he was guaranteed to be accepted as a member of the sect. Even if I won't get the same fame as in the past, he would at least be treated well, even if they didn't think too kindly of him. Now ask me the reason. And then he would unfurl his script. It would be a breeze from, I accept. Yes, of course. The entry, what? Chung Myeong boggled at Hyunjung. Contrary to his expectations, the sect leader just nodded at him. If you want to join, we should let you. Huh? No, wait. Was it so easy to gain entry into this place? A totally unfamiliar child? Jangmun. Eunam was equally shocked. Didn't you say we won't accept new students? Yes, ask him. I changed my mind. Hyunjung grinned. Truthfully, we aren't in a position to accept new students, but we cannot turn our backs on a child who came all this way knowing about Mount Hua. Huh, but... Eunam. Yes, Jangmun. Things go round and round. Whatever the child is, he came to us on his own 2 feet knowing of Mount Hua. Are we going to kick out those who searched us out just because we aren't as great as we were in the past? If someone heard this, they might have been impressed. However, after all of Chung Myeong's preparations, it was just making his skin crawl. What is this? Aren't they supposed to be suspicious of someone they don't know? How did he even become a sect leader? No. He must have become a sect leader because he was like this. No. Before that, I live... It's fine. Hyunjung shook his head firmly. It doesn't matter what kind of life you lived before this. Whether you were a sinner or a thief, the moment you climbed up Mount Hua, your past disappears. Of course it did, but it couldn't be that simple. No. I told you it was fine. Man, it isn't okay. Listen to me. Eunam. Jangmun. Give this child a place to stay. Yes. Your name is Chung Myeong. Chung Myeong nodded. A very nice name. A very good name. Chung Myeong of the Chung lineage. The sect leader chuckled. This must be fate too. You don't need to get a new name for him. You might not know, but your name means a lot in Mount Hua. Hyunjung's eyes narrowed. Would anyone be worthy enough for that name? Yes, Chung Myeong replied. I'll see. Chung Myeong stood stiffly, and Eunam escorted him away with a sullen expression. This way. The landscapes of Mount Hua caught his eyes as he stepped outside. I've entered. Eunam interrupted his thoughts. Although we haven't held the introduction ceremony, but from this moment on you are a disciple of Mount Hua. You will become a vessel for the martial arts and the youngest disciple of Mount Hua. Youngest? Chung Myeong's eyes trembled. Youngest? Me? The plum blossom sword saint? Chung Myeong, the youngest? When Chung Myeong's amusement leaked, Eunam couldn't help but smile. You seem happy. Yes, so happy. But why were tears falling? Shit,